Oh, hey there, folks. It's Amy here, and as some of you may have heard, there was a newer trailer that finally showed some footage from the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, and it's seemed pretty great. I thought maybe I should do a reaction video or something, but I'd rather not really show it, but I will explain it because I'm sure all of you have tons of access to watch it. The biggest thing for me that stood out, of course, is we fully see Deet. We supposedly see her like flying for a little bit. It's hard to see if it's her or not, but yeah. And it's a weird plant thing telling her about something, and I don't think it. I mean, I think it may be a creature or something, or it could actually be, the planet of Thrall itself, like talking to her. So we get a look at like one of the Gelflings. We still don't know much about the other two. One of them he has a sword, so maybe he's a warrior or something. And the other Gelfling woman is girl is kind of like she's like looking in books for something, like learning the history of Thrall or whatever. Yeah, and we also see that the Skeksis are, a lot of us probably have an assumption about what they're up to, but I guess it's like showed like the crystal being experiments on, a lot of essence being drained, and it's like, and what was also cool was seeing Agra again. Of course, she looks a little bit younger than she does in the movie, but there's the you know, whole setup of the world is very similar. The one thing that made me kind of feel weird, of course, was this weird like vehicle thing, and for like a second, I think you see like the Chamberlain poking his head out, and he's like poking his head out, driving on. I don't know what. I don't remember anything like that in the other movie, but we'll have to see. And it's gonna be on August 30th. Of course, we saw like Landstrider. Yeah, we saw Landstrider and the Fizzgig, which maybe it's Fizzgig's like dad or something. And of course, when Deet like touches this plant, she sees all these visions, and it kind of like, you know, we'll probably be seeing a lot of these scenes later on in the thing. I hope there might be some other trailers that give us a little more insight. But I don't want too much insight because then it will ruin it, and I won't. I'm obviously going to watch it regardless. So it seems like Deet is in touch with Thrall the world. So the world is kind of already told her something's going on. This warrior, I guess, I think he may be the Gelfling that ultimately discovered what the Skeksis were doing, and he's kind of like thrown out of the castle and that. Of course, this Liberian girl, she probably is like girl Gelfling that's studying. She probably learns about what's going on by talking to Agra. Of course, they show Agra's house, her observatory that was supposedly built by her by at the end of the movie when the Skeksis and the Ori fuse together and they go back and that's those were the people that helped build her observatory. And of course, it seems that she's been looks like she's been snoozing for a while, and then something has woken her up. I didn't see any Gotham. Yeah, the Gartham, I should say. Yeah, I didn't see any Gartham. Perhaps we'll figure out how they made the Gartham and stuff. It might have made them out of the essence of Gelfling, which would not be a thing. And we may also see the reason why the Emperor is dying in the other movie. Perhaps he took too much essence and, affected his health in some way. And I've seen like Skeksis with a sword and they're like scraping it and attacking some Gelfling. There's probably a lot that we're going to see that, it'd be kind of cool, but some scenes are probably going to be sad and, I don't know what's really going to happen, but, I guess we have to be prepared to, I guess we'll just have to see. But it is quite an interesting thing to see how they started, like, prolonging their lives by draining energy from the crystal and, how they're learning how to manipulate the crystal to their own ends. And it's continuously corrupting the world of Thrall. And Aughra supposedly is a connection to Thrall because, well, in a lot of the other graphic novels, talk about the myths and creation myths of the Dark Crystal. So the Aughra has been around for a very long time, but she is like connected to the world. So it's interesting to see how Deet like communes with the world of Thrall to tell her what's going on. I would like another trailer that showed like something. I'm sure we're going to see many Gelfling tribes, their villages, probably pod people, the podlings, and see a Thrall that's super alive and vibrant before a lot of the corruption had destroyed the world. We will see Thrall in a different way than has ever been seen. And it's been 36 years since the other movie was out. Since the movie like officially came out. And I remember watching it on CBS. I believe it was on CBS. A long time ago it was on TV. And I sort of remember watching it on VHS. And then, on DVD, and now, most recently, DVD. It's quite impressive to think that such a movie that has such a cult following nowadays for how long it's been going. I just remember that this series is on Netflix. I don't think we can expect, I hope maybe we're going to get some action figures. I mean, it might even be cool to see like Lego Dark Crystal. I see some of the Dark Crystal characters in Lego, because I know Lego wants to do everything Lego. It would be cool to see a Dark Crystal Lego or something. I don't know about maybe like video games, maybe an animated series, maybe some video game of it. I just think it would make a cool, like, G or something. But I understand it's Netflix and they don't really want to over-market size it, but I think a lot of the people that worked on this movie, and these action figures or video games, the money could help to go and like, help to support these people that I'm sure have worked their butts off. And I'm quite sure they've worked their butts off making this movie and it's making this series, and it's very appreciated that they went through this trouble to do this. It's definitely been, let's see, probably almost 2 years since we heard they were actually working on it. And it's quite a thing to finally see what it is. Hopefully maybe we'll see other trailers that talk about, these two different characters. Maybe they'll show one that talks more about the dude, the Gelfling guy. And then maybe this other girl, maybe we'll learn more about her in some other trailer. It's interesting to know a little bit about these characters. But about these characters. Now I've talked a lot about the movie Dark Crystal and how much that movie is kind of you know means a lot to me, and a lot of people may not really like it. It's one of those movies where you're gonna like it or not. I mean, I remember growing up with Muppets and Sesame Street as well. I mean, I know the talk like Sesame Street, oh, no big deal. Sesame Street was a big deal. I know they're now like having to go to HBO because public TV wants to get rid of them, and it's just ridiculous. You know, I really think Sesame Street really affected me growing up, and I've watched classic Sesame Street. I do notice that we probably couldn't get away with that stuff nowadays, but I was an '80s kid, grew up in the '80s. Well, I was born in the '80s, kind of grew up in that time of the late '80s to early '90s, and Sesame Street was important. So, Muppets, Jim Henson, his name is just, I mean, there's a lot of stuff I've seen of his that was just, it was beyond anything they're doing now. Since, now we're going back to where everyone wants practical effects. We don't really want all this CGI all over the freaking place. but back to the Dark Age of Resistance trailer. The trailer was quite great. It didn't really give away. Well, I mean, you pretty much have an understanding about what's going to happen. But I mean, the trailer doesn't like overly tell you everything that's going to happen. So hopefully there'll be some surprises. I was a little unhappy that they revealed Agra. I know Agra would have to be in it, but I kind of wanted them to wait. It would be interesting to have just, you know, not even know what she's even going to look like in that, or didn't know if she's even going to show up. I figured she had to. And we may also learn about where the crystal shard comes from, how Agra was able to get it. There's a lot of prequel problems, which I think they're probably going to try to avoid some, because I don't think any of these Gelflings are, the parents of Jen or Kira. But it is interesting to see, especially Deet, you know, a girl Gelfling actually that shows that the women Gelfling can actually fly. It's quite a thing to see them actually fly. We saw Kira glide, but of course, in their time, they think we don't know if other Gelflings might have survived somewhere out in the wilds, but Kira didn't have any other Gelfling to tell her she would learn how to fly. It's just quite a spiffy thing. And of course, in the Gelfling society, the women Gelfling are in control. They run everything. Yeah. Yeah. They pretty much do. And I've heard all the other books about it, the Gartham, the Gartham Wars, and the Gartham. If some of you don't know what the Gartham are, they are like those weird, like crab-looking things that the Skeksis have used them as weapons to, essentially wipe out the Gelfling. The Gelflings, as they have stated. Of course, we know about the, the special prophecy, and then they want to eliminate them. Well, hopefully, I can't wait for this to come out, and I hope that you guys are looking forward to it too. This is E-Man signing off. I will talk to you guys later. This is E-Man signing out. See ya.